What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sistas. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sistas. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Sisters fans. Look, I'm late. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I did not mean for this review to, not be up until Saturday, but I've just been going through a lot. It's crazy over here. Nothing too bad, but like I said, I'm behind. I really am, but better late than never. This is my review for episode 20 entitled Catch Fade, which aired on Wednesday. We had a good time in the live stream discussion, but I've been having fun just interacting and just reading the comments and posts in the Sisters Facebook group. I think it's almost at 120,000 subscribers. I'm going to go out on a limb here. That group might hit around 150,000. Basically, I think the Sisters Facebook group might get to, if not soon exceed, the number of subscribers I have on YouTube, which is insane. I don't get paid for that group, but I'm just glad I have a huge fan base for this show because I can use that group to promote my work. So I can't really be mad at that. So, I give it a 9 out of 10. I am glad I kind of waited to do the review. I think the live stream after the episode kind of wore me out because I was in my feelings in regards to the whole Zach and Fatima thing. And trust me, I approved a bunch of posts in the Facebook group. And yeah, I can tell a lot of people were feeling the same way as me. This fool has definitely messed up a good thing. And I remember feeling on the fence about what to give the episode. And on one hand, if the episode would have cut off like after the first 7 or 8 minutes, basically the entire parking lot sequence, I would have gave the episode like a 10 out of 10. But then the whole Sabrina thing and Calvin, I didn't give a damn about that. I was pissed off at Zach. But at the same time, should I score an episode low just because I don't agree with the choices a character made? But on the flip side of that, I was emotionally invested. Like, I don't think I've been that emotionally invested in a character's actions romantically. I'm not talking like, Jason assaulting and killing Jean or anything. I mean, like, when there's a relationship on the line here. I think Love is Blind in 2020 on Netflix was the last time I got worked up about something like this. So I give this episode a 9 out of 10 because of how worked up I got after the fact. So before moving forward in the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, click the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content to the channel. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And like I say, join the Facebook group for Sisters. We have a great time. I know that a lot of social media figures have like Discords and whatnot. I am trying to get one of those started, but I think the Facebook group is just an amazing place because, again, there's almost 120,000 people in there. We have a blast talking about the show. I'm pretty sure that even when the show's off the air after season 2 comes to a close, the group is still going to be booming. Not to mention, remember, season 3 is already in the books. They've already done it. So we might get it sometime, maybe late summer, early fall. I don't know when, but I'm pretty sure we won't have to wait long. And yeah, like always, I'm trying to get the percentage up on the viewership on the channel. Basically, we're currently at around 30-ish% of my views coming from subscribers. So if you are a frequent viewer, hit subscribe to help me out. Trying to reach to at least 40% by the end of the month. So without further ado, I only got 1 page of notes because it felt like not much happened in the episode, but then a lot of shit happened in the episode. We start off with Jasmine and crew versus Andi. Let me just say this, Andi did a hell of a lot better than I thought she would because technically it was 2-on-1 instead of 3-on-1. It was just a back and forth banter, Jasmine and her girls versus Andi, how Andi was like, y'all better watch out. I'm a lawyer. I know all the judges. It felt like training day. It was like, oh, you going to gang up on me like that, huh? Okay. All right. I'll put cases on all you bitches. 24-hour lockdown. You will never see the light of day. You'll be locked up for life. And then Jasmine's like, what was it? I think Jasmine tried to grab Andi when she was trying to get away. And then Andi put her arm up and I'm like, oh my God, because Jasmine saw that ring. And then they both went back and forth. And then Andi, honestly, I think that was actually a pretty smart tactic where Andi was speaking up about how, oh yeah, well, what about when Gary came over to my apartment where you were there too, saying he didn't want your ass anymore? Basically informing Jasmine's girls that your friend got you hyped up when her man don't even want her anymore. However, who would they be more inclined to believe, their girl or, as they would put it, the bitch that stole their girl's husband? I'm pretty sure they don't know about the whole Jasmine and Morris thing, conspiring to sabotage Gary, get the divorce, and get money. But then again, like I said before, if you were those two girls on Jasmine's side, would you be more inclined to believe Jasmine and what she told you versus what the woman who stole her husband told you, is telling you? It's one of those situations. But in any case, Andi, it just felt like, again, not just Training Day, but Michael Jackson Bad. I'm talking about the entire short film when, what was it? MJ, Wesley Snipes, and those two other dudes and his old crew, they were trying to mug this guy. And Wesley's like, you ain't bad. You ain't Delphus. You ain't bad. You ain't nothing. You ain't nothing. That's honestly what it felt like watching this scene. So it gets to the point where Jasmine slaps Andi in the face. And then she tells the girls to get her, kick her ass, get her. A lot of people were like, why didn't Jasmine jump in there? Why didn't Jasmine do anything? Why are her friends doing it? I honestly can't give a straight answer for that. I mean, I didn't really overthink things too much when I talked about it last week. I'm like, how the hell is she out of the hospital so fast? It's only been a few days, since she was tossed off the parking garage roof and landed on that car. I don't think there's no way in hell she should be able to move the way she is. Trust me, there have been more ridiculous recoveries in like the haves and the have-nots than Jasmine being out of commission. At least Jasmine was out of commission for a few days versus somebody like Veronica or whoever else who would be in the hospital for all but less than an episode and back on their feet again like nothing happened. Need I remind you, David was caught in the explosion of the car that killed Erica and his back was literally destroyed, aka a burnt hot dog on a grill. Yet he is able to move and walk around like it's nobody's business and be back on his back on the bottom with Alyssa on top of him. So just to put that in perspective. So basically, Fatima rolls up in full Medea mode. Kudos to everybody who called it that Fatima will be the one to rescue her. It's kind of interesting because I believe when Fatima pulled up, I think Jasmine then started to jump into the fight. But again, Andi was doing better than I expected her to do. Honestly, I thought she did better than, anybody gave her credit for. So in any case, Fatima comes out with a gun, and the way she was talking, I mean, she did tell Andy's like, why did you let me shoot him? It's been a good time. It's been a long time since I had a good kill. I'm like, wait, has Fatima shot someone before, or was she in the heat of the moment? It kind of gave me those Jason vibes after he killed Gene. It's like, oh no, I didn't want to do this again. I'm like, wait, what? He killed somebody? So I'm like, who did Fatima kill? Just saying. I'm just asking. So in any case, I know some people are like, what's Andi telling Fatima to calm down for? It's like, bitch, you trying to be a lawyer. I mean, one part of me is like, Andy's the last person to try to tell somebody something, but she could tell. Andi was reading the situation a little bit better than Fatima, who was in her emotions. But then again, I understand it because Andy's like, look, the police are coming. Don't worry about it. No need of you catching the case. Jasmine is like, I ain't got nothing to lose. This ain't over. And I love when her two friends ran away because they won't have no part of this. So basically, Jasmine's going to be back. I don't know if she's going to be back in the next episode, but we do have the finale coming up right after that. So you know how how Tyler Perry does these damn finales. So I don't think we're done with Jasmine because I'll get into that later once we get towards the end of the episode. But a few things to note here. Number one, apparently there are no security cameras in the parking garage aside from the entrance and exit, which I found very suspect. Number two, Andi just torn up. Her clothes are dirty and everything, so she decides to go home and change. Fatima's like, man, my hair messed up my edges messing around with it. I'm like, oh shit, is she going to the salon? Because watching the preview for this episode, we know what happens between Zach and Karen, and I'm like, Lord, please don't let Fatima go there. So after Andi leaves, it turns out Hayden was watching, not only watching, but recording the entire thing on his phone. Evidently, I think it's safe to say Hayden was there waiting to creep up on Fatima. That's honestly what I think he was doing, but it turns out he got quite the show. So it's funny because Fatima was kind of like threatening him and whatnot if he showed anybody that tape, because it's like, ooh, I wonder what our boss would say if he knew about what was going down in the parking lot between one of the new partners and her secretary. And then it's like, oh, well, what would the boss say if he knew about what you did to Zach? Touche. So after that, we go over to the bank. Jacoby apparently made Maurice coffee, and it's kind of an awkward chat because he mentions, you know how Maurice is about, I want a lot of extra cream. And it's like, wait, you don't think it's wrong if you don't think it's weird that I mentioned a lot of cream? I'm like, no, I just thought, oh, I know what you mean. See, not everybody has a quote unquote dirty mind where everything has to be sexual. It's like, oh, you want cream? Okay. You want sugar? Oh, it's all good. But then again, whatever. But basically when Jacoby goes to, oh yeah, he actually brings up the whole Calvin situation because he's kind of like, wait, is that the old boy he messing around? I mean, Brina is into colorful pants and everything. So they kind of have a chat about that. And then next thing you know, Maurice's ex, who I believe is the same guy that was mentioned by Butt Liquor and the white bartender at the gay bar, saying that, oh yeah, Maurice, your old boy used to be in here. Wait, what? Okay. Remember when Maurice was at the gay bar and then at the cliffhanger ending, he goes back to his apartment and then hears the noise coming from Calvin's room? That's what I'm referring to. When he went to the gay bar and they told Maurice that, hey, your ex was here talking with somebody else. Are you jealous? No, I'm not. And then they said that's when they saw Calvin in here talking with another man. So that's why Maurice assumed it was Calvin in that room. All right. So basically, later in the episode, we find out this. And look, I'm trying not to, I don't want to offend anybody, but to the normal viewer, I believe it was safe to assume this was a homosexual male. But later in the episode, when Maurice is breaking it down to, I believe, either Sabrina or Calvin, he kept using the pronoun her. Guys, and or should I just say, everyone listening, I somewhat understand that there are just so many different pronouns to describe the gender or non-binary gender of so many orientations that if I ever slip up and mess up, I apologize, but I cannot and I don't keep up with this stuff because in my normal everyday life, I don't really encounter a lot of people. I kind of like Jacoby. I'm not really interacting with a lot of people who are of such orientation. So again, when I was watching this scene, I was really cringing, and I did speak with some other fans about this because I am well aware that some of my viewers are homosexual, and they have spoken up in the comments, and some people have DM'd me because they wanted me to potentially do a video, and I'm like, well, honestly, considering I'm not gay, I don't think I have the right to say, Tyler Perry, this is offensive to gay people. It's like if I said, this is offensive to women. I don't feel comfortable saying that because I'm not a woman. So personally, I do know some people who are gay, people I used to work with, some people I used to go to school with, and they aren't flamboyantly over the top as portrayed by Bootsy. It just felt like a hot mess I was watching at the bank. I just feel like, I don't know where, well, Tyler Perry says he pulls things from his real life, people he's seen, people he's talked to. So I don't know who Bootsy is supposed to represent in his life or whatever, but I just feel like that portrayal seemed a bit over the top and unnecessarily cringe. Just my opinion. You can let me know what your thoughts are. I don't know, whatever. So essentially, he explained that I know where your spare key is. You know what I do? I had a queue up in there all night. I got a roommate. Oops. So basically, Maurice has egg on his face. So he decides to run home to tell Calvin. I do find it funny because Sabrina pops up, is like, I'm going on break, Sabrina. Well, Maurice, you just got here. Well, it's a slow day, bitch. And he runs out. I'm like, Nobody give a damn about their jobs in this show. All right, so Andi calls Gary, and she says, "Hey, I'm home. Uh, can you come by later around 5 o'clock to get the ring? Oh, so you want to keep the ring on all day?" Yeah. So I guess maybe because she got her ass whooped that she decides to keep on the ring to spite Jasmine. I honestly don't see the logic in her wearing it. So a cop comes by who I believe is the same cop who Karen issued the warrant to for Zach and then arrested Zach. Basically, he came over to because, oh, honestly, I believe that right before Gary got off the phone, he was like, "Who's at the door?" "Oh, it's nobody." And I was like, Lord, I know that Andi said 5 o'clock, but I wouldn't have been surprised if Gary showed up while the cop was there because he was jealous. But I have to say, well, props to Gary for not doing that. And it turns out also, apparently he wasn't following Andi as we theorized because he didn't even get the call from Andi until after she had already gotten home and changed. So apparently he really was about 30 minutes out. So, okay, kudos to Gary on that. But apparently the cop, gets the information. She has everything on like, a piece of paper. Just, hey, here are the names, what happened, check it out. But basically he tries to flirt with her and sees the ring and gives his phone number and leaves. It's like every man that comes to her damn door flirts with her. That's honestly what it boils down to. All right, so then we have Maurice and Calvin. He's upset about the fallout over Sabrina, and Maurice is like, "Fine, I'll go tell the truth. I'll go." It's Calvin's like, "I had a long day. I'm ready to go to bed." You don't want to be in those sheets. I think you need to burn the mattress and everything." I'm like, Maurice. I mean, technically, what's his name? That Bootsy or whatever. They should. Again, I said. This person, because again, I don't want to say the wrong thing. This person should be the one to pay for the mattress and everything, or at least Maurice, because he was the one that messed things up by this whole Sabrina thing. But at the same time, he rushes off to tell Sabrina the truth. I know some people are like laughing about the whole little slice of booty thing, but to be honest, I would be the Calvin in that situation pissed off. Is like, I'm not gay, and then you're continually asking me if I want some of your behind. Like, if you don't get your ass out of here. So then we go over to Maurice telling Sabrina about the truth, about the whole Bootsy situation. And then she's upset, so she leaves. Okay. So then we go over to the airport. Zach is asking Danny. She told Karen about, what he said about him not doing it and whatnot. And she's like, nope. I don't know what was wrong with Danny in this particular scene. I don't know if she had took a hit of her pen or whatever, or she's just too through with this crap like everybody else. But I mean, I could have sworn she called Karen, and then her and Sabrina went over to the salon. So I thought that she had already told Karen what Zach had told her, because Zach did say, "I'm not going over there. You tell her this, you call her because you're the one that let her back here on the airplane when I was cleaning it off." So I could have sworn Danny had told Karen exactly what Zach said, but she doesn't care. So he's like, "Fine, once I'm done with this job and my other job, I'm going to go over to the salon myself." And I think Danny said, "Don't do it. It's not a good idea." But he's like, "I'm going to do it anyway." So as soon as Zach walks off, when Sabrina comes up, he's just pissed off. They talk about the fact they're going to meet with Andi later that day. And Sabrina tells the whole situation about Maurice, Bootsy, Q, and Calvin. Danny doesn't give a flying F about it. Look, let it go. You effed up bad. So after that, I think they said they were either getting a drink or they were going right over to Andy's. I forget. But basically, we go over to the salon. Karen's closing up shop early because they're going to go to see Andi. Aaron shows up with flowers, I believe. And they go to the back room. He gives her a foot rub, and they kind of talk about the whole situation involving the celibacy. When Karen brought up Rachel, we know that Aaron's a pastor. A lot of people are like, "Well, what church does he have?" and this and that. And wow, I mean, that Rachel, who was the wife of a pastor or whatever in the area, the one who Karen was talking smack about, but she overheard it. Basically, she wants to talk with Rachel about practicing celibacy and whatnot. And Zach actually shows up. Aaron is, pretty much shooed away by Zach. And then her and Zach go to the back room while Pam kind of gives a smug look, and I'm like, she used that credit card, or she knows what's going to happen once those two get back in the room. So Karen takes them to the back to show the receipts where it says Zach Taylor on it, and I will admit, he actually gives a compelling speech about how he's mad at himself and he feels like crap all the times he wasn't able to be there and support Karen like financially because of the fact that, why would I do this to you? Why would I hurt you like this? Because I admired every day you got up to build this salon into what it is now. It's like, I wish I could have done something like that. So it just hurt me that I couldn't do anything, but it hurts even more that you would think I would do something like this to you by taking your credit card and, you know, running up your credit like that. And, you know, always love you and I care about you. And next thing you know, I think he starts unbuttoning his shirt, and we knew this was going to happen, but you could not have told me that Karen wouldn't be the one to make the first move, and it was actually Zach. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I believe that after Zach stormed off at the airport, Danny told Sabrina, oh no, he's just upset. He's going to see Karen and they're going to have wild jungle sex. And she called it. So we got one more scene to talk about. Well, actually, let me talk about the cliffhanger ending. So Aaron shows up to the shop again. It's like, wait, are they still back there? Are they fighting? He opens the door and these two are going at it. Speaking of jungle sex, it was like the whole damn animal kingdom was coming out of that room. Okay, so anyway, we go over to Gary stopping by Andi's place. He comes by with the ring to unlock it. And, you know, they talk about the Jasmine situation. I believe her two friends, Jill Parker and Macy Willis, and she's going to have them arrested. And that's when Gary's like, you know what, I'll handle this myself. And Andy's like, whoa, the last time you tried to handle things yourself when I told you not to, remember towards the end of season 1, when Andi had told Gary, hey, look, stay at my apartment, don't go anywhere. Like, no, I'm just going to go over to my house, get my stuff, and that's it. That's when we went to the parking garage and had the Jasmine fallout. So I don't know. I just feel like this is even more confirmation Jasmine will be seen again before the end of the season, due to the fact that Gary wants to handle it, but who's to say she won't just pop up on him? It's like, you know what? Fine, I tried to get your girl Andi. It didn't really work out. I'm going to go after Gary next. That's why I kind of think is going to happen. But that's when Gary wants to just say, hey, let's get married. But I don't think Andi said yes. She pretty much laid down the conditions about, you know, I don't want no kids quickly. I ain't living in no country, and I'm keeping my career. And then they kind of cozy up. They get a glass of wine. And then, you know, of course, we get to the actual cliffhanger. But I give this episode a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I did have some issues with it, but overall, I did feel emotionally invested. And sometimes my feelings about the episode kind of override the technical score of nitpicks of, I wanted to deduct points because this. So those are my 2 cents, or should I say my 22 minutes of reviews for the episode. Like I said, I apologize for this being later than expected, but hey, life happens. I gotta have stuff come up, and yeah. But in any case, thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts on the episode in the comment section below. I still need to watch Delilah and Ruthless. I promise I will get to those soon enough. Well, only a couple more weeks. Basically, the 31st is the finale. So in April, thankfully, the schedule will be back down to just 3 shows, where I'll be reviewing The Oval, Delilah, and Ruthless. Where The Oval is going to be the primary one. To be honest, I need to check the ratings, but I don't know if Delilah has been really hitting the mark with fans, because my videos just haven't been doing that good. I know the show is new, so I'm not really going to be too worried about it, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So again, thanks again, and if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.